Hello and welcome. You're watching People and Profit on France 24, and I'm Charles Pellegrin. This week, we'll bring you two conversations France 24 recorded at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, about two of the most pressing issues of the day, the rise of artificial intelligence and the green transition. And you'll see how these two seemingly distant topics overlap. Well, first off, generative AI has gone mainstream. So what's the next big thing in tech? Enter quantum computers, new kinds of machines that can solve complex calculations in seconds when it took classical computers decades. Are quantum computers coming closer to our homes? How is competition building up to commercialize them? Well, to understand more, Yuka Royer spoke to Georges-Olivier Reymond, CEO of French supercomputer maker Pasqal.
We can see here at Davos, at the World Economic Forum, that AI is everywhere. That's the big thing today. And AI is a software solution to our problems today. And these software solutions need a supercomputer to be trained. It's really important. And the challenge is to have this computational power at a low energy cost. Because today we are piling up the processors to be able to train ChatGPT, as an example, and this is super energy intensive. And a quantum computer is a solution to these both challenges, the computational power and very low energy intensive.
A decade ago, a quantum computer for most of us was still a stuff of science fiction. There have been some scientific breakthroughs. How has the world changed now?
You're right. I mean, quantum computing is developing super fast. It was science fiction a couple years ago, and now it's a reality. At Pasqal, we have customers all over the world, more than 40. We are currently implementing their use cases on our processors, and we do that at scale. So we are really solving their challenges. And this is unique. So yesterday, we were talking about science fiction, proof of concept. Now we are talking about real-world applications. And tomorrow, thanks to our technology, we will enter into production, solving the problem of the big corporates in the energy sector for drug discovery at scales and offering an edge compared to classical computing.
No one knows where AI is, how far AI is going to go. So how far is quantum computing going to go?
Sky is the limit. I mean, we are at the very beginning of a journey. If you want a comparison with classical computing, because I think it helps understanding how it works, we are like in the 60s, 70s of classical computing. We invented the transistor. We are currently inventing the first chips. And who knows the application that will come. We see some of them today. I mentioned drug discovery, the energy sector, just to mention a few. But I think we don't know yet all the capabilities that quantum computers will bring us.
Now, do users need to understand quantum mechanics to be able to use?
No, they don't. No, they don't. We do all the work to abstract the complexity of quantum. So basically, at the very end of the day, to use a quantum computer is exactly like using a classical one.
That's reassuring, at least. Now, how soon, though, can quantum computers, you mentioned that they're already present, they're already real in companies, for businesses and industry, but how soon can we have them in our homes?
As of today, I don't think that we will have quantum computers in your home. I think it's today we are targeting a business-to-business relationship, so they will be installed in data center. It doesn't mean that maybe in the future we will be able to miniaturize them as we did with our classical techniques. Now we have a computer in our pocket, but who knows? But you will see the impact of your quantum computers in your day-to-day life. I can give you a very simple example. We are working with EDF, the French electricity utility, and the use case we are working on with them is about how to schedule the charging of a fleet of electrical vehicles. In France, imagine that we have 10, 20 million of electrical cars. Everyone is plugging the car on the grid at the same time. How do you keep the grid balanced? You need to schedule the charging tasks. You need to schedule it over the night with a constraint of keeping the grid balanced, and that in the morning all the cars are charged. And this is a super complex computational task that you can solve with a quantum computer. So you will see the effect in your day-to-day life.
So that's the sort of thing that is impossible or near impossible for ordinary computers to do today.
Yep.
What other examples are there then?
There are other examples in drug discovery. With our technology, we have been able to simulate the reactivity of a docking site of a molecules for a new drug. And this is key, to speed up the designing of new drugs.
So quantum computing, the technology can be present in healthcare, in medicine, in energy, as you mentioned, so across many industries.
Absolutely. You have to see the quantum computer as the true enabler of AI. And AI today is in all verticals. So quantum computers will impact all the sectors.
Georges-Olivier Reymond, thank you so much for joining us on France 24 once again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, in order to avoid climate catastrophe, a new green global energy system needs to be built. And private companies like France's Schneider Electric, which specializes in energy management and digital automation, are playing their part in those efforts. France 24's Yuka Royer spoke with its Executive Vice President, Olivier Blum, at the World Economic Forum about what it will take to reach global climate goals.
A lot has been focused in the public debate on the supply side, but when you look at research that many companies have done, we have done, IEA has done it, we clearly show that 45% of the solution to bring back the planet to 1.5 is related to supply, and 55% indeed is coming from the demand. And the demand, is very simple. It's a combination on how you make energy more efficient, basically you consume less to achieve the same thing, how you electrify the usage, transportation, home, industry, and it's about circularity. So we've seen a lot of progresses where we see that now people are not asking what to do, they are asking on how to do it. And definitely, again, on the demand side, energy efficient, electrification, and circularity are the big things. And of course, what is the biggest enabler is digital, because that really makes it possible.
But going towards automation also means that we need to secure energy. Energy security would be key. How do they correlate?
We have seen that 1 year ago, the topic of security, of energy security was a big topic in Europe. It's getting more and more stable, I would say. Access to energy is available in most of the part of the world. I think the key topic is the cost of energy. Of course, you have places in the world where the cost of energy is still very much subsidized, so people don't feel the pain. But we have seen in the past 1 year in Europe that it was not the case anymore because there was a huge inflation. So whether you are in the subsidized market or non-subsidized market, sooner or later you will feel the pain. You will have access to energy, but the cost will be higher and higher, and that will compromise your entire economy. And again, we felt the pain in 2023 in Europe. So whether it's a short-term issue related to energy security or long-term because you want to become net zero, the topic of energy is critical. That's the biggest contributor of CO2 emission, and that's why we have to act very, very fast on the demand side.
The recent spike in geopolitical tensions has had an impact, for example, on oil price. How do you see the current spike in regional tensions affecting the energy market?
Well, you're absolutely right. That creates a lot of uncertainty. And the problem, of every single crisis, people are putting a lot of attention when there is a crisis. And once the crisis is over, you become a bit more relaxed. But the past 2 or 3 years have shown that those tensions, those crises in geopolitics, they are here to stay. It might change from one part of the world to another one. Plus, when you combine that for the need to become net zero everywhere in the world, and you see it in Davos that it's very high now on the agenda of the government, there is not one single chairman, CEO who has not put a commitment to become net zero with a roadmap. So again, whether you take it for a short-term reason or long-term reason, you need to put this topic of energy efficiency very, very high on the agenda. You have no other option. In parallel, we need to continue to work on the supply, as you said, to have access to more green energy, to more renewable. That's a must. But the combination of the two is really the solution to make it happen.
And how can we ensure that everyone on the planet has access to clean energy or energy altogether? I mean, there are people in some parts of the world who don't have access to electricity.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very important question, and I'm glad you're asking it because we're always talking probably about the most advanced economy in the world, but you still have in the world, give or take, 800 million people who don't have access to energy. So we have at Schneider Electric, for instance, created 15 years ago a global access to energy program where we want to provide solution for people to have access to energy. But the second point is even more important, is access to clean energy. because you want people who don't have access to start to be able to enter in the developed world, where they can educate their kids, they can do things during the night because they don't have lights or whatever, but you want this energy to be clean. And of course, the solution you will implement are not exactly the same that we will implement in the developed world. So here, we need more commitment from large companies like Schneider, who can develop R&D solutions to make it happen, but we need, of course, the support from the different governments in different parts of the world to put more incentive, to put more support, to help the NGO also who are involved. So that's a very different ecosystem, but I'm glad you're asking the question because that's a very important part in the equation.
Olivier Blum of Schneider Electric, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
That's all for this week. Feel free to watch our previous shows on the France 24 website or by searching People and Profit on the podcast platform of your choice. And you can always reach out to us on social media if you have any questions or comments. In the meantime, thanks for watching and stay tuned to France 24.